Welcome back to the deep dive. So, I think we've all been there. You see a best-selling author, a really successful entrepreneur.
Or world-class speaker.
Exactly. Someone who seems to be operating on a totally different level. And you just think, how could I ever get 5 minutes of their time, let alone, partner with them on something?
That feeling is so common, it feels impossible. We put these people on a pedestal, right? We assume they're just way too busy, too famous to ever notice us.
But the sources we're looking at today tell a surprisingly different story.
They do. The counter-narrative is that the truly influential people, they're often eager to work with you.
But there's a catch.
There's always a catch. You have to approach them in the right way, and you absolutely have to understand what their core motivation is.
Absolutely. So today we're diving into a whole stack of insights that are basically a masterclass in building these kinds of relationships.
And we're looking at specific strategies people have used to, broker business deals, form real friendships.
And even get world-class speakers for events, sometimes for free.
So our mission here is to strip away all those assumptions and unpack the reality of it. Getting notice isn't about trying to be their peer. It's about becoming their partner in impact.
And to do that, we have to start with the why. Why would they even talk to you in the first place?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack that core motivation. I think we live in this culture that equates success with celebrity, which creates this huge misconception.
That influential people just want fans.
Right. They just want people to praise them endlessly.
And that's the classic mistake. It's what sinks most attempts at connection right from the start.
Yeah.
The sources are really clear on this based on, years of talking to these people.
What they want isn't fan worship. It's not flattery.
No. They all share one single defining goal, and that is to see their influence grow.
That is the key. And they might define that differently, right? For one person, it's about legacy. For another, it's global impact.
Or just helping more people this year than they did last year. But the bottom line is always multiplying their influence. The real influencers, the ones whose work actually matters.
They thrive on solving problems, on sharing their ideas, and seeing that ripple effect.
And that realization is the turning point for you. If you want to connect with them, your number one goal has to be helping their influence grow in some way.
Which immediately brings up this idea of givers versus takers.
It's everything. If your intention is purely transactional, like if you see this as a hack to get something for yourself,
The sources say your motives will be sadly transparent.
you'll immediately get put in the taker box, and that's it. The door closes.
This has to be a real relationship built on contribution, not some formula for manipulation. It reminds me of that old Zig Ziglar quote.
You will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. It's that exact principle.
It's what Adam Grant talks about in Give and Take. You want to be a giver.
You have to be. You're making deposits without expecting an immediate withdrawal. And that foundation of, genuine generosity, it leads right into the strategies that actually work.
The sources lay out 3 basic long-term steps.
Let's jump into the first one,
Yeah.
because I think it's the most powerful. Step 1, get on their radar.
But the goal isn't what you'd expect. It's not to be their peer.
No, it's way more strategic. The goal is to become their case study.
Right. To prove that their work actually works.
And this strategy has 3 simple parts. The first one is so obvious, but almost nobody does it.
You have to actually do what they say.
Yes, you have to apply the advice from their book, their podcast, their speech, whatever.
And the sources claim that just by doing that, you're separating yourself from, 80% of the crowd?
At least. Most people are just passive consumers. They'll read the book, they'll listen to the talk, but they never put it into practice.
So when you do, you're immediately a rarity.
Which leads to the second part.
Wow.
You have to tell them about it.
You have to make it a habit. Let them know specifically how you use their wisdom and, crucially, what the result was.
There's an ambitious suggestion in there to try to tell at least one influencer a week what you've learned and implemented from them.
And a lot of people might stop there, right? They'd think, okay, I did the thing, I told them.
But you have to think about the psychology of it. You haven't asked for anything. You're just giving them proof that their work had value. You are helping them build their legacy.
And then, only then, comes the ask.
But it's not a big ask. It's not for a job or a huge favor. If they respond, and they might not, which is fine, you start a dialogue.
The first ask should just be a really good follow-up question.
And the emphasis is on good. It has to be something you couldn't just Google, something that shows you've really engaged with the material.
You're acting like an apprentice, not an equal, and only after you've built that rapport through these, low-pressure exchanges.
That's when you can ask for that meeting. A quick Zoom call, a coffee.
That slow, careful build based on your own success leads us perfectly to step 2.
Which is, be a good hang.
I love this one. It's the human element. We like to think that in creative fields, it's all about the quality of the work.
But the truth is, if you're going to be in the trenches with someone on a project, a book, a film, a business.
People have to actually enjoy being around you.
Absolutely. The source material gives a couple of great examples of this.
Like Tim Ferriss's strategy for launching the 4-hour work week, he didn't just email people.
No, he famously said his strategy was getting drunk with bloggers. He prioritized spending real quality time with people to build a network based on actual connection.
And that was key to his massive success.
And it's not just in media. There's the story of Zach Pritchard, a video producer.
Right. He started his company by just saying yes to everything and being indispensable. He helped with that huge Kickstarter campaign for the Save Blue Like Jazz movie.
Raised over $300,000 in 30 days.
And his secret, which eventually got him work on an ESPN 30 for 30 doc, was just that he was a good hang. He was reliable, he was positive, easy to work with.
So how do you actually do that? How do you become a good hang without being, awkward about it?
The sources give 4 really actionable tips. Number 1, ask good questions.
This is so important. The most charismatic people are masters at making the conversation about the other person.
I thought the story about Michael Hyatt was fascinating. He's the CEO of a huge publishing company, and he shows up to a meeting with an aspiring writer.
And he had prepared questions for the writer.
Incredible. Okay, tip 2, say thank you, but don't suck up.
There's a fine line there. You have to respect their work and be specific about how it helped you.
But don't pretend to be their best friend or lay the compliments on too thick. Just show genuine respect for what they created.
Okay, tip 3 is critical for establishing yourself as a giver.
Offer value upfront, even if it's small.
If you meet in person, offer to buy the coffee. If it's online, send a $5 coffee gift card or a $10 Amazon card beforehand.
The amount of money is irrelevant. It's the intent. You're showing that you initiated this to give, not to take.
And the source makes a really crucial point here. Sending them your book doesn't count.
No, that's just self-promotion disguised as a gift.
Exactly. The offer has to be for them, not for you.
And the final piece of being a good hang, which might be the most important for showing respect.
End the meeting on time.
Show up on time, leave on time, respect their schedule. You make it easy for them to say goodbye, which makes them much more likely to want to meet with you again.
Which sets us up perfectly for step 3, which is what ties this all together for the long term. Follow up.
The secret ingredient here seems to be diligence, not charisma.
Totally. The source talks about a mentor, Seth Barnes, who had this incredible network of influential people.
And he said it wasn't because he was the most charming guy in the room.
No, it was because he just diligently stayed in people's lives long after everyone else had moved on.
That consistency is so powerful, and there are practical rules for this. Right after the meeting.
In the coffee shop, if you can, type up your notes, your takeaways.
Then email those to the person, thanking them again. It shows their time wasn't wasted.
And then the long game starts. A week later, you follow up again.
But you're not just saying hi. You're telling them what specific action you took based on their advice.
The example of the person emailing Michael Hyatt is just, wow. Almost weekly for 7 months.
7 months? That feels... doesn't that risk crossing a line? From dedicated to, desperate.
It's a risk, for sure. And that's why the content of the emails is so critical. You're not asking for anything.
You're just reporting back. You're continuing to be their case study.
You're still helping their influence grow. You're constantly adding value to their world, not asking for something from it.
But you need a stop loss, right? You can't just do that forever.
Absolutely. The boundary rule is essential. If you email someone 3 times in a row with no response,
you stop.
You stop, take a break for at least 6 months. You have to act like a reasonable human, not a stalker.
So this whole strategy, being a giver, a case study, a good hang, following up, it all builds this foundation.
Right. And when you look at why influential people actually said yes to big partnerships, like speaking at a conference,
it always came back to 3 things. First, they were already friends.
The relationship was built before the ask was made. If you ask a stranger for a huge favor, it just feels transactional and gross.
Second, the person asking had already helped them in some way.
This is the core of the giver mindset. They promoted the influencer's work, made introductions, whatever. They had made enough deposits in the relationship bank.
So it wasn't a cold ask. There was a history of generosity.
And that makes the influencer feel good about saying yes, not obligated. The relationship is the currency.
And third, the ask itself was handled well. No pressure, no apologies.
It was positioned as an honor, it respected their time, and it was easy to say yes to.
They even mention a tactic of inviting speakers who already know each other, so the event becomes a fun reunion for them.
So the ultimate takeaway is pretty clear. If you want people to partner with you, just be a good friend.
Connect without an agenda. Help them get what they want. And when you do ask for something, don't ever bring up all the stuff you did for them.
The relationship is the point, not the transaction.
Now, everything we've talked about so far has been about this very personal, one-on-one kind of influence, chasing the CEO or the author.
Right, but to give a broader perspective, we need to pivot and look at influence in a totally different context.
Specifically, how it applies to a geographic community, the concept of the local hero brand.
This is a really powerful idea from our secondary source.
Hmm.
The local hero is a type of brand that taps into this renewed desire for localism. It champions local needs, local culture, local people.
It's the complete opposite of globalization, really.
It is. A huge global brand wants infinite scale. The local hero brand has to have a deep, provable presence in one community.
And that commitment has to be real. There's a great quote from Andrea Quay of AB InBev.
She says, if your product is produced in the anthills of the savannah, go live there. You can't fake being local.
You have to be culturally relevant. You have to be dedicated. And that dictates your whole strategy, doesn't it?
Completely. Your marketing has to be hyper-local. Use local media, you champion local causes, and you build relationships with local influencers, not just chasing some global celebrity.
What's so interesting is that even though these two models seem totally different,
The personal connection model and the local hero brand model.
they're built on the exact same foundation.
Genuine, sustained commitment and generosity.
Whether you're investing in one person by becoming their case study or investing in a whole town by championing its culture, it all comes down to authenticity and presence.
The giver mindset is universal.
So we've looked at the three-step method for building a relationship with, say, a publishing CEO.
And that's all about contribution and diligence.
And we've looked at the brand model for building community trust, which is all about deep local presence. Both take incredible patience.
And a lot of generosity.
So in a world that is just obsessed with scale, with global reach, with always chasing the biggest names and the biggest markets, it makes you ask a question.
Where's the most valuable, untapped influence waiting for you right now?
Is it in chasing that relationship with a hero halfway across the world? Or is it right in your own backyard where a genuine contribution is immediately felt?
We see that the most effective strategy, no matter the scale, always comes back to generosity and presence.
Something powerful for you to think about this week. That's our deep dive for today. We hope you feel a little more well-informed.